there was a real moment in my childhood where I'm like, to be totally candid, like wearing the little Dixie Outfitters T-shirts with the little rebel flag on it, because that's what I saw the men in my life doing.
You had a little rebel in you.
Yeah, but at the same time, I worship Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm just like, oh my, that guy was the coolest. Him and Stone Cold Steve Austin, but
you're totally in that attitude there.
Yeah, man. And so it was just like, to think about that place in time and where I grew up and the childhood and just where I was. But Western North Carolina is not, the Appalachian region. Again, this is my crusade of why I encourage folks to not get their impression of Appalachia and the people of Appalachia only through JD Vance, because he is not giving us the best name.
I heard a lot of Ashley Furnitures is pulled out since.
Yeah. Western North Carolina has a very checkered past as it relates to the Civil War. I mean, because it's
a very proud past in many ways.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a Unionist region.
That's why we have Union Baptist churches still. There's Southern Baptist churches and Union Baptist churches up in the mountains. And so it was just such, the lens of going through high school, being fortunate enough to go to college, being fortunate enough to get out, move to Nashville for a while, go to law school, move to the Virgin Islands, be back in Raleigh, doing all these, I am in a place where I'm reflecting and thinking about who I am, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish. And it's hard to not, even now with the news that, of course, this happens when Griffin was in college, and the news that's come out about him and the Confederate flag stuff. I can't help but think about the middle school Jacob who was trying to figure out who he was.
Sure.
Figure out where's my clique, what group do I fit in. But at the same time, my closest friends were
doing it.
They were doing it, but I also my Hispanic friends who were migrant workers whose family would come to the mountains to work the Christmas tree harvest and then go to Florida for the second half of the year to work oranges in Florida. And then they would come back around the fall Christmas tree season, and they would be there until January, February, and then go back to, Florida. So it was a really interesting place to grow up, which leads to somehow I've got a poster of The Rock on the wall while simultaneously busting out a Dixie Outfitters T-shirt with lawnmower racing pictures on the back. So
yeah, it's wild how that works. I had a guy that worked at the restaurant. He came in high school. He was 16 years old at the time, and he would wear these shirts. He was what you would call a redneck, right? Lived in the rural county of Alamance, and came in, always would have a rebel flag on his shirt or something. And I was like, dude, we just can't wear that here at the restaurant and stuff. And he just didn't understand it. He wasn't combative, really.
Just didn't click.
No, he just didn't. So to your point, when you're in your adolescence and that's all you've been around and stuff, he had no clue that it made some of our other coworkers feel weird.
Yeah, you have no idea the signal you're sending out when you grow up in a culture.
And when it's not told to you.
That's exactly. But and the men that you're around who have the cool truck, who have the cool shotgun on the rack in the truck, who generally have a pretty
Dukes and Hazzard was fucking cool.
Dukes of Hazzard was cool as shit.
Yeah,
and
also just we in this, it's so American to pull for the underdog, and I think that's one thing that is commonly overlooked when we talk about Southern history, right? Is especially the Confederacy, right? It's commonly portrayed as this scrappy underdog. And when people watch Star Wars, they pull for the rebels. Yeah. And I think that's, when you're a kid.
The Confederates were not the rebels.
No, what I'm
in my Jedi comparison.
Oh no. What I'm saying is that when you're a kid growing up, right, and you're in this culture that is, telling you to your heart beats a little faster for the underdog.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get wrapped up in something that you later look back on, and you're like, oh, this was actually not history.
That's right.
They were trying to fight for slavery.
I don't want to say I was lied to, but I was not given the full picture.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're not given the full picture. And I had to get away.
But Jefferson Griffin in college knew the full picture.
So I want to.
I would hope he's a little more.
So some context for this, right? So we're recording this when it's just been revealed that Jefferson Griffin, the sore loser of sore losers, The dude contesting the 2024 election that he lost. He's lost it like 4 times now. I don't know how many times.
Recounts,
yeah. And dude won't let it go. So it comes out that in the early 2000s, he and his fraternity, I think it was the KAs.
KAs at UNC.
The KKKAs.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. I'm not a Greek guy.
I'm just saying, when I was in school, the KAs were like, in my opinion, that was the real douchey frat at my school.
Okay.
They were the mean
I
ones
don't
to
know much
me.
about it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of Connecticut Yankees who wanted to do like Confederate cosplay.
Oh, okay.
Is what it was
Yeah,
at my
that's
school.
a bad idea.
Which is honestly what that photo was. Was like, it
Yeah.
was probably. I mean, it was a lot of Yankees doing Confederate cosplay, and Jefferson Griffin is in there. And this is early 2000s, I guess. And then it comes out that in high school, he said that he wanted his number one dinner guest would have been Robert E. Lee if he could have had dinner with anybody. Which, really, that's it. Like, I mean, but okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't really think it's much of a scandal, honestly. I think it's like kind of there's no surprise there.
There's
it's
no surprise
It's like, yeah, this is
yeah.
exactly what I would have expected from this dude.
Well, and I think it'd be different if there's pictures and stuff of him running around with the Confederate flag, like really putting it into people's faces, really doing this thing.
Dude was just being a drunk frat boy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, is it a bad look? Is it something? Sure. But is it something we need to be obsessing about and being like, this is why he shouldn't be a judge? I mean...
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to his credit, he has since released a statement saying, "I have grown.
Yeah.
I now know better.
Well,
looking back on this was a bad idea."
Well, okay,
while simultaneously like not wanting to consider.
So this brings me to the irony.
Yeah.
That because a lot of people look at it and think, oh, he's a racist. He's all these things, because of his association with
we're
the
allowed to
Confederacy.
grow. Right.
Well, the thing that I found particularly ironic and that I think is the real point of this, and I did see a meme, the Young Democrats released a meme that I think hammered this pretty well.
So good.
Yeah, it was great, which was that, like Jefferson Griffin is, in high school he's talking about, I want to have dinner with Robert E. Lee, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things we could say about Robert E. Lee, and that man was guilty of sedition and treason, and it's a miracle that he didn't spend the rest of his life, in the dry Tortugas in some brig.
Right.
That being said, that dude was not a sore loser. And Jefferson Griffin is like the epitome of a sore loser.
Yeah.
And I just find the irony, right? The irony that, Robert E. Lee, right? The war's over. His army's been crushed. He's defeated. He still had a lot of clout, and he could have kicked and screamed and drug that out and rendered, just made this country more divided than ever. And continued that division, but he decided to go home and hang up his hat. And then it's just, you look at Jefferson Griffin, and he is out there wasting everybody's time, wasting everybody's attention because he didn't get what he wanted.